From the old Piggly Wiggly site in West Ashley to his own future, I speak exclusively with Charleston City Council member Harry Griffin for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview Tuesday on the free Quintin's Close-Ups iHeartRadio podcast. Councilman Harry Griffin. It's so good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Anytime. God, last week was so busy for me. What was it like for you? What was your week like?
It was busy. It was very busy. We had a city council meeting. We had a public works meeting. We named a new stormwater director in the city of Charleston. We had a very, very busy meeting. It was a good week.
Good week. Let me talk to you about a couple of things that you were interested in.
Sure.
You told me in the text that you want to talk about flooding,
Sure.
traffic, development, public safety, and the Piggly Wiggly site.
Sure.
Where do you want to begin in your mind?
Well, when it comes to flooding, the first project that we have to talk about is Spring Fishburne. That project, as you know, was originally $154 million. It's now going to be about $200 million. And in order for that project to go anywhere in reality, we had to finish the first 4 phases. The project was split up into 5 phases early on, and the 5th phase is a pump station. So with the first 4 stages complete, then we actually have a full system. Obviously the pump station would dramatically enhance it. So we have appropriated the money to finish phase 4. In order to do that, we had to pretty much drain our drainage fund. We had to use about $17 million, which means that we're not going to have any drainage fund money for any new projects until 2023. Now, I think that's pathetic. I think that it's an embarrassment. I can't imagine our city not being able to fund a drainage project for 5 years. And when I say fund, I mean, other than alternative funding sources, like the State Infrastructure Bank gave us money for Spring Fishburne.
Right.
The TIF district gave money for Spring Fishburne. But what we have to use other than those things are drainage fund money. So our governor came down and walked through those tunnels.
Right.
And said, you know what, City of Charleston, you have to finish this project. This project is a must. And so I would hope that our state would be looking at ways to get us some grant money so that we don't have to drain the drainage fund. That's going to be very important. Church Creek is still a big priority. We had the Dutch come, Dutch dialogues. They're going to be looking at Church Creek. What scares me about all these studies is the repetition and the money spent. And when you have a study, you could say that you're doing something. When in reality, it's almost like you could do a lot more. Action steps are going to go a lot farther in the public than a study. A study can be very successful, but why are we studying the same things 3 or 4 times? We still have a 1984 drainage study for the city of Charleston that is less than 50% complete. So these studies have inhibited us in a lot of ways. And if, for example, you wanted to delay appropriating money to a certain area, you may just give that area another study, because that's just going to push the timeline back even more. So it's my goal, I have to be adamant that Church Creek, we don't let all of the noise, the studies, the TIF district that's 10 years away before it makes any money. We're not going to let all the noise get in the way of us appropriating money to get these projects done. And I'm going to be working with our state legislators and the governor any way I can so that we can get money through grants so that we can get money back in the drainage fund again. Because that's really the only way West Ashley does anything is through drainage fund projects.
You said the studies that the city of Charleston conducted 3 or 4 times in your mind. How much is that costing the taxpayer altogether?
A ton of money. Like, for example, Church Creek, we appropriated, I think over $600,000 to study Church Creek. Plus, we've re-upped the contract with Weston and Sampson a couple of times to keep going. They're still with us. So that number's probably over $750,000. Plus, you talk about the Dutch dialogues. The program costs approximately $400,000. The first time I was told about it, it was like, oh, we're going to get private donors. The city's going to put $50,000 on it. We go to Ways and Means and we look down on it, and they want our staff wants the city to pay $225,000 out of the $400,000. We agreed to pay $125,000 because all this money that we're spending on all these studies, and what happens is you have all of these studies. They produce different results. They tell you that you need to do different things, and then where are we? How do we have enough? There's no way we're ever going to have enough money to appropriate when you're doing multiple studies on the same area. They're going to produce different results, and you're going to run out of money. It's like a game of cat and mouse. And Church Creek, I thought we were making some substantial progress, and I'm just going to keep fighting because we have got to appropriate money over there any way we can.
You talked about Church Creek earlier. You talked about the noises that you're hearing. What else noises are you hearing when it comes to the future of Church Creek, really?
Well, there's a lot of noise, obviously. There's what I like to call good noise, and then there's the bad noise. The bad noise is, it's a priority for a headline, and then it's not a priority anymore. The good noise is our city has worked really hard with these new stormwater regulations to potentially to really put a damper on that Harmony project. That Harmony project is pretty much back to square one. They're having to redo their stormwater design to meet our criteria, which every development in Church Creek should meet this strict Church Creek guideline. And so that's great. You have a Harris Teeter coming.
Right.
I actually went over there on Sunday. It's doing very well. We have a potential 11-acre lake coming to the northern part of the West Ashley Circle. Recreational lake. It's going to create 78 acres of stormwater retention. Beautiful project. You have Bridgepoint. You have the condos. They still haven't been demolished. We're holding out. We've got one homeowner that's we're finalizing with. That could be a really great area. That's going to be green space eventually. There's a lot of good noise, but these people, these residents, these taxpayers, they're tired of hearing false promises or false hope. The good thing about what we're doing is we have actually moved forward with some projects on the Church Creek list of 8 priorities. We have a couple of them in the works already, including Hickory Farms, their overflow diversion. They had a lot of water that was coming into the neighborhood that was creating a heck of a problem, and we're going to divert all that water out. So we're making substantial progress, and I appreciate and I'm humbled that the West End newspaper gave me a Westie Award because of how hard we've worked in Church Creek. It's not just me; it's every person in Church Creek. They're so good about giving me the resources and saying, hey, my ditch is clogged, or we need to do more. Here's what I want you to bring up in council. And people are doing it. We're working as a team over in Church Creek.
Okay, you talked about earlier, I guess, the 10 projects. How many have you completed thus far?
It's really 7 or 8 now.
Okay.
You could say that it's closer to 10 only because we're working with the county.
Right.
We're widening Glen McConnell. The county's doing that project, but we're going to help out with some of the drainage.
Sure.
I would say that we have already gotten 2 to 3 underway. Mm-hmm. Hickory Farms is set to be completed in 2019, which I think is huge. We appropriate the money in 18. We finish that in 19. The 11-acre lake, we're still working all the final details out on that, but that should be done, probably in the middle of 2020. The Harris Teeter property is going to create 2 new stormwater retention ponds, big ponds. That'll help.
Yeah.
And really, we're trying to divert as much water out of Church Creek as we possibly can.
Okay. I got to go back to numbers again. The entire project for Church Creek, those 10 projects, how much would it cost altogether?
Approximately $50 million. That would be a high number. Now, think about that. We could knock out 10 projects that would positively impact potentially 20,000 or more people for $50 million. And we have a $50 million overage on spring fish burn. So you could literally fix an entire community and what it will take to enhance one project downtown.
Okay, if you were to, hey, say for instance, you guys wanted to formulate this project, and let's say minus the phases,
Right.
would it cost you guys more or less?
Say that one more time.
If you were to not do the project phases, and just do it all together, project.
That's a great question. In fact, that project was originally just a project.
Okay.
It was decided by Davidson Ford and the city to break it out into phases, and you could say that it has been, I would say, economically it's a failure, because that project should have been completed by now, and because it has dragged on for so long, inflation is a big part of it. When you do cost estimates in the beginning of a project, and this project was budgeted back in 08, 09,
Right.
You're talking about a decade later. Inflation definitely plays a part. So we have to make sure that we don't make the same mistake ever again. We're getting ready to start another big drainage project. We've got the Market Street drainage project that's coming. Yeah, that's going to be huge, and it's going to be expensive. And so we have to make sure we don't make that same mistake again. I have a lot of faith in our engineers, but I do believe that there was some complacency on this. I don't understand how you can have a project that's been in the work for 10 years. You do a cost estimate, a cost analysis last year, and there was no problem. I said last year, 2017. In 2018, you figure out you're $50 million short. That to me doesn't make a lot of sense.
And also, unfortunately, the batteries have some malfunctions here, but can you describe to me the following in one word: public safety in the city of Charleston?
It's at an all-time high. And I know
Good.
Citadel Mall, we've had a couple of slayings over there.
Right.
But I can promise you our police department is on it. They are on the burglaries. They are on top of a lot of things. And even though that was a tragic situation, we lost a really, really sweet lady. Our city of Charleston will apprehend that suspect, and hopefully, they will get the justice that they deserve. I have total faith in our city of Charleston Police Department.
And when you go from Citadel Mall down to the old Piggly Wiggly site, where does your mind go to about the future of the Piggly Wiggly site?
Right now, it's been a $3 million waste. We spent $3 million that could have gone back to flood relief. If we don't do something spectacular with that Piggly Wiggly site, it was a waste of money. Eventually, the county and the city are going to collaborate to fix that 171 Highway 7 merge, which is very important, and you'll probably use a little bit of that site to do that. But wouldn't it be amazing, and I've said this to you before, some city services right there. Build a building where people can come apply for a business license, get a permit, maybe work for a variance, do some city services so that you don't have to go downtown every single time to do simple tasks.
While this particular old Piggly Wiggly site sits there, you say it cost the city $3 million. How much will that ultimately cost?
Well, I mean, you don't know how much it would cost to build the building, but eventually, if you're helping residents, do city services, you'll make that money back.
Okay.
But to spend $3 million plus, because you got to add in the fact that we tore down the building,
Right.
You're talking probably in between $3 and $4 million, probably 3.1 million. Right now, every day that parking lot just sits there, it is an eyesore for all of West Ashley. And it's supposed to be a spot that enhances West Ashley. That was what the purpose of the buy was.
Okay.
If we're going to buy property, we got to know what we're doing with it beforehand. We shouldn't be buying property and sitting on it for years. Because if we buy property and sit on it, it's going to just be a parking lot. And you saw what happened with what the city did with the Charleston School of Law. Charleston School of Law, got a good deal, and they used their parking lot for 10 years, and then, just flipped it for $12 million, and it's going to be another 254-room hotel. So as long as we let things sit as parking lots, somebody's going to come in and offer a heck of a lot of money and purchase it. And, we can't afford to just sit on things, and the last thing we want is for us to sit on it and some private developer come in and build a huge development or a bunch of condos or something there. That won't be very tasteful. That needs to be city services. That is what needs to be on that land. Something to do with the city of Charleston.
Could you do this as a councilman or as a mayor?
I could probably do it as both. I know what you're getting at.
Oh yeah, I've heard the news.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I filed a campaign disclosure for this race. I did it with. I had not raised any money at that point.
Okay.
I've been just humbled by the amount of support that I've gotten so far, and honestly, I'm disappointed in where we've gone the last 4 years. I think that we have a lot of. I went to the Citadel, and our motto is honor, duty, respect, and our honor code is a cadet shall never lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. And I every day am ashamed at some of the what I would call unethical decisions that are made down at City Hall. And I don't want to elaborate too much into detail, but I am not impressed with how things have gone since I was elected and before. And I think that we need more transparency. I don't think this administration is transparent whatsoever. I think that somebody who is going to run to the media and talk about all these moratoriums and a hotel moratorium, but takes thousands and thousands of dollars from developers for campaigns, I think that's wrong. I think that's immoral. I think that you're lying to the people that you represent every day. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's plenty of things that have happened over the last 4 years that our city would be disgraced. And unfortunately, it's going to take somebody who has completely new ideas, is willing to be a business person, is going to be willing to tell people no. And guess what? Developers, if you want to come to Charleston, you better help us fix these problems, because we aren't the only ones who have created them. Yes, we said yes far too often. It's time to start saying no. But you can have development that is prosperous but is smart. And a lot of these developments that have a price tag, a high price tag, but we're also going to create infrastructure, maybe stoplights and that sort of thing. They're all just sitting idle. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen in West Ashley. We've got this Long Savannah project that's supposed to extend Glen McConnell and create a stoplight. When are all these things going to come to fruition? And we have to have a better relationship. We can't just be pushed over by developers. And we have to tell them that I heard the county in a meeting last week say that they were going to have developers help out and improve infrastructure, and we need to do the same thing.
Councilman Harry Griffin, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you, Quintin.
Thank you.